Today we have with us Reverend Mary Moore as our speaker on the subject of the renewal of love, and she will be joining us very shortly. Welcome, Reverend Mary. I would like to read today's inspirational reading from the writings of Mark Victor Hansen and Jack Canfield, entitled A Second Helping of Chicken Soup for the Soul. The title of my piece today is called The Ultimate Sacrifice. Linda British literally gave herself away. Linda was an outstanding teacher who felt that if she had the time, she would like to create great art and poetry. When she was 28 years of age, she began, however, to get very severe headaches. Her medical doctors discovered that she had an enormous brain tumor. They told her that her chances of surviving an operation were about 2%. Therefore, rather than operate immediately, they chose to wait for 6 months. She knew that she had great artistry in her own body, her own being, in her own heart. So during these 6 months, she wrote and drew feverishly. All her poetry, except one piece, was published in magazines. All of her art, except one piece, was shown and sold at some of the great galleries in her area. At the end of 6 months, she had the operation. The night before her operation, she made a personal decision to literally give herself away in case of her death. She wrote a kind of will in which she donated all of her body parts to those who needed them more than she would. Unfortunately, Linda did not survive the surgery. Subsequently, her eyes went to an eye bank in Bethesda, Maryland, and from there to a recipient in South Carolina. A young man, aged 28, went from darkness to sight. That young man was so profoundly grateful that he wrote to the eye bank, thanking them for existing and for the remarkable work that they did. It was the only second thank you that the eye bank had received, after giving out in excess of 30,000 eyes. Furthermore, he wanted to thank the parents of the donor. They must indeed be magnificent folks to have a child who would give away her eyes. After an inquiry, he was given the name of the British family, and he decided to fly to see them on Staten Island in New York. He arrived unannounced, rang the doorbell. After hearing the introduction, Mrs. British reached out to him and embraced him. She said, "Young man, if you've got nowhere to go, my husband and I would love for you to spend your weekend with us." He stayed. And as he was looking around Linda's room, he saw that she had read Plato. He'd read Plato in Braille. She'd read Hegel. He'd read Hegel in Braille. The next morning, Mrs. British was looking at him and she said, "You know, you seem so familiar to me. I think I've seen you somewhere, but I don't know where." All of a sudden, she remembered. Quickly, she ran upstairs, pulled out the last picture Linda had ever drawn. It was a portrait of her ideal man. The picture was literally identical to the young man who now stood before her and had received the gift of sight from her daughter's eyes. Then her mother read the last poem Linda had written on her deathbed. It read, quote, "Two hearts passing in the night, falling in love, never able to gain each other's sight." Thank you. And now our wonderful music this morning.
I got to sing after that.
Love is but a song we sing, and fears the way we die. You can make the mountains rain, or make the angels cry. And the dove is on the wing, and you may not know why. Come on, people now, smile on your brother, everybody get together, try to love one another right now. Some may come and some may go, but we shall surely pass. Till the one that left us here return for us at last. We are but alone in sunlight, fading in the grass. Come on, people now, smile on your brother, everybody get together, try to love one another right now. Come on, people now, smile on your brother, everybody get together, try to love one another right now. If you hear the song I sing, well, you can understand. Listen, you are the key to love and fear, all in your trembling hand. Just one key unlocks them both. It's there at your command. Come on, get loud, smile on your brother, everybody get together, try to love one another right now. I said, come on, people now, smile on your brother, everybody get together, try to love one another right now. Come on, people now, smile on your brother, everybody get together,
Steve Isaac.
Thank you. Thank you for the wonderful music today. Oh, what an inspiration. Thank you. Thank you. And now we are inspired by the lovely Reverend Mary.
Wow. How do I follow that? All of it. Thank you for the reading. Thank you for the music, Carol and the Goodfellows. The renewal of love. In 1940 and 1941, there were about 7 months when the Germans were bombing England nightly or every other night. And there were many, many civilian casualties. They were bombing primarily the big cities, London and Liverpool and the big cities, but primarily London. And it was a very, very severe time in our history. They were trying to get the British people to surrender. That's when Churchill said, "We will fight by land, we will fight by water, we will fight by air, we will never, ever, ever give up." The British people decided they were going to send their infants to the countryside for safety reasons. So they sent them to a home there where they could have food and shelter and clean clothes and clean sheets and everything that they needed. There was one thing that wasn't there, though, because the mortality rate was very, very high for these infants. What was missing? Love, connection. So they sent in professional nannies, and the instruction is to do what they had been doing, but in addition to that, add this dimension, to connect with the children, play with them, have just one person for so many children so that they had a connection to one person, so that they look forward to seeing that person. It was love. The mortality rate dropped. We can see from this that love is essential. During that time, on October the 9th, 1940, John Lennon was born, and his mother in Liverpool put him underneath the hospital bed and sheltered there with him during the bombing. That's probably when he got an idea about imagine and give peace a chance. What a mother will do for her child to protect him or her. So we see that love is essential. We die if we don't have it. It's as necessary as the water we drink, the food we eat, the air we breathe. It's essential. And yet we're kind of embarrassed by it. We're kind of uncomfortable with it. In my wedding ceremony that I use when I do a marriage, it says, to love and to be loved. Love is what we need. When Prince Charles and Diana Spencer announced their engagement, the person who was interviewing them said, "And so I suppose you're in love." And Di was very bashful. She said, "Of course." And Prince Charles said, "Whatever in love means." I love these people that mirror back to us where we are in our life. It's such a great help. This is something Louise Hay talked about in her teaching with us, is that she said we need to be comfortable with ourselves, with our bodies, with our body functions. She said when you begin to think about being embarrassed about something about the body, she said you begin to create dis-ease in the body, and eventually it will manifest. So just relax and be comfortable about it. Be comfortable about the fact of love. I mean, it's such a simple thing. Such a simple thing. And yet we're embarrassed by it, that we want that or need that. So we've established that love is essential. Divine love brings together and maintains together those who belong together and separates those who do not. Can we imagine that we could do it in love, that separation part? I have a story for you. This guy raises the bar really high. You're going to leave discouraged, but it's all right. You need to know this. If one of us can do something, that means everybody can do something. So Tony is in a relationship, and his wife is irresponsible. She likes to party and drink a lot. She can't hold a job. And he says, I'm out. They have 2 children, ages 4 and 6. She wants full custody of them. He's thinking, yeah, right. But, Tony is loving. He just lets that go. She gets full custody of them, and he sees them like twice a month. She decides that she's going to tell people and tell the courts that he abused the girls. Let me reassure you, this guy did not abuse these girls. I sat next to him one morning at breakfast, and his girls and my grandchildren are best friends. They're about the same age. So we were listening to the girls talk, and we were talking with each other. He doesn't have one bad cell in his body. And sometimes when people hear about something like that, they don't want their children to play with your children and all that kind of stuff. But everyone saw who she was, so thankfully that was pretty smooth for him, very smooth. Well, what is his reaction to all this? He goes to the mountains in North Carolina to pray, meditate, and ask Spirit to show him how to forgive her for what she's done. And if any of you understand family law and the family court system, when you as a parent are accused of abusing the children, it's not innocent until proven guilty. They take the children away from you until you're proven innocent. So it's a little different in that circumstance. He didn't see his baby girls for 2 years. So anyway, life rolls along. The mother of these children are taking them out to the bar, putting them in the back with chips and soda while she parties and drinks up front and then drives them home after drinking and partying. Well, time moves along, and the social worker that's working this case, she becomes clear about what's really going on in this family. And the wheels begin to turn in his favor. The mother and her parents were mad at Tony. All of a sudden, the parents see the lack of parenting by this woman, and they come forward and say to Tony, we will come forward and testify that you are the best parent and that you should have full-time custody of these girls. We'll come forward to the court system and do this for you. Well, things changed dramatically for him, 180 degrees. But he kept going to North Carolina, working on himself. This is the part I want to emphasize. When we work on ourselves, we begin to mirror and picture a different outcome in our world. We go inside, and then it begins to look different out here. So things change. He gets full custody of the girls. And what does Tony do? He tells the mother, stop by any time to see the girls. He understands that the girls are more important than anything else in this situation. In fact, what she did not really hurt him. The children picked up the ticket for her lie. The children pay the price. So he welcomes her into his home if she wants to stop by and see them. But at this point, she's not that responsible to want to do that. From what I understand, the oldest girl hates her mother now. So that'll be an opportunity for her to work through. But her mother has done things like say, I'll pick you up at 1 o'clock on Saturday and we'll go do this fun thing. She doesn't show up till 4, or she doesn't show up at all. So the girls kind of get this picture pretty quickly. The divorce attorney said to Tony, he said, in 25 years, I've been practicing law. He said, I've never seen a divorce like yours. He said, I didn't know it was possible. He said, you taught me something. So you see, he raises the bar really high for us, but if one of us can do it, all of us can do it. All of us can love like that. Forgive, let go, and love. Dr. Joe Dispenza was very badly injured in an accident, and he was kind of sentenced medically to being a quadriplegic for the rest of his life and being in a wheelchair. And he decided that wasn't going to happen for him. And he said, the power that created this body is the power that will heal it. And so he's walking around, he's flying all over the planet now, his vertebrae healed and so forth. So he has these seminars now, they're a week long. And in the seminars, my understanding of the format is they meditate 2 hours a day, 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon, for about 4 or 5 days. And he does a lot of scientific study. So he asked this person who attended his seminar, could I have a blood sample of yours before and after? The person had some physical conditions that were not the best. And I don't know specifically what they were, but he said, sure, I'll give you a blood sample. Well, they took this blood sample before, and they put the COVID virus in it. And the COVID virus went in, set up camp. I'm at home. Good stuff. They put the COVID virus in after he meditates and listens to Dr. Joe Dispenza for a week. And the COVID virus formed around the blood and could not enter in. In other words, when we work on ourselves, when we love enough, when we learn to love enough, we're not subject to the virus. You say, well, Mary, I don't have $5,000 to go see Joe Dispenza and learn all this. I don't want you to. It is a daily process of choosing. There have been plenty of people who have healed. I'm reminded right now of Charles Fillmore. He had a withered leg. He began affirming life into that leg, and it literally filled out and got longer. And he used to walk with a shoe that had a level on it like that, a heel and a sole on it like that. And by the time he died, it was that. It was a normal sole on his shoe. So there are plenty of methods and opportunities for us to consider this whole idea and how to do it in our daily life. In fact, I think that making that commitment to ourselves and doing it inch by inch, it's a cinch, is much more effective. Because you get on these highs at these workshops and you're like, oh yeah, I'll buy you a house, I'll buy you a car. Forget it. You want that day-to-day renewal, that day-to-day remembering and re-choosing. And then all of a sudden, you're integrated spiritually into the body and you change your life here and now. Here and now, always. Here and now. That's what we're looking for, is that more permanent integration. Everything is in life is an opportunity, so we just could, and life will give you opportunities to learn. It will bring it, I promise you. Wonderful opportunities. So you just keep re-choosing the best that you can. And you don't have to be perfect. It's like, a high wire act at a circus. There's like a safety net. God gives us mercy, God gives us grace, and we can land and get up and start again. I think this country is one of the most forgiving countries on the planet. We can declare bankruptcy. I watched this with other students. I used to work in a financial aid office, and I would have these students from other countries come in and inquire about getting an education. They were so conservative with their money. Not us Americans. Where do I sign? We have a different thought process. And we see unlimitedness in a way that other people don't. I've been out of the United States 3 times, and each time I landed on the tarmac, I looked up and I didn't see any ceiling over my head. So there's amazing opportunities here. Amazing opportunities here. We just have to reach out and say yes to them. This is a true story. A man had this near-death experience. He was going through this tunnel of light and going to the other side of life. When he got to the other side of life, there was a presence there who said to him, "How well have you loved?" He turns around and comes back to this side. He said, "There's more to do." So I want to say to you this morning, our opportunity is to love more. Perhaps we could avoid pandemics. We could avoid many things that we go through by just loving more. So I leave you with this morning with this thought. How well have you loved? I leave you with that, and God bless you.
All right, we're not going to do the song of the month today. We're going to leave you at the end of this month with a song that's in a little bit more alignment with Reverend Mary's talk today. Wasn't she wonderful? Woohoo!
Again, thank you, Mary, and I'm now going to ask the ushers to please come forward. And our musicians are going to sing and play for us as we receive the blessing that you as a congregation share with us. God bless us all, and thank you in advance for your music. Thank you.
There's a reason for the sunshine sky. There's a reason why I'm feeling so high. Must be a season when that love light shines all around us. So let that wonder grab you deep inside. Under what you can't hide, and you can feel it through those moonlight nights with your lover.
Just let your love flow like a mountain stream, and let your love grow with the smallest of dreams, and let your love show. And you know what I mean, it's the season. Just let your love fly like a bird on a wing, and let your love bind you to all living things, and let your love shine. And you know what I mean, that's the reason. Let your love grow with the smallest of dreams, and let your love show. And you'll know what I mean, that's the season. Just let your love fly like a bird on a wing, and let your love bind you all living things, and let your love shine. And you'll know what I mean, that's the reason.
There's a reason for the warm, sweet nights, and there's a reason for the candlelight. Must be the season when those love lights shine all around us. So let that wonder take you deep in space and lay you under this loving embrace of the thunder. As it warms your face, you can't hold back.
Go, Tara.
Just let your love flow like a mountain stream, and let your love grow with the smallest of dreams and let your love show. And you'll know what I mean, it's the season. Just let your love fly like a bird on a wing, and let your love bind you to all living things, and let your love shine. And you'll know what I mean, that's the reason. That's the reason. That's the reason. Woo-hoo.
Have a wonderful afternoon. Thank you so much.